strawberries all year round, but in Bradshaw's time, strawberries were a special seasonal delicacy. For a few weeks of the year, they were picked and transported to market each Friday, the day after people were paid. As we're moving down here, we're beginning to see some strawberries now that are getting towards ripeness. Do you mind if I try that one?
No, of course you can.
The railways made it possible for this massive amount of strawberries to be grown in Britain.
Yes,
but I suppose it's the airlines now that are kind of killing it off in Britain.
Yes, what happened was that you could send a strawberry to anywhere in the north of England on a train, and the strawberries were much softer than these. So the train was perfect because you could put a strawberry on there and it was so smooth, and it would go all the way to the north and without being damaged.
The railways were pivotal for the strawberry growers, but they also kick-started another Cheddar Valley industry, tourism. Before the railways, only rich tourists would have been able to enjoy the wonderful spectacle of the Cheddar Gorge. When the railways arrived, thousands of ordinary day trippers began to enjoy the splendour of this magnificent area. Reaching 500 feet in places, the sides of the ravine boast the highest inland cliffs in the country. My Bradshaw's guide tells me that the cliffs of Cheddar are well worth visiting, and says the area has achieved some notoriety from the discovery of two caverns in the vicinity, one called the Stalactite and the other the Bone Cave. And it comments on the very large numbers of visitors now coming to the area. But no Victorian could have imagined the tourist magnet that it's become today. Cheddar Gorge now attracts 500,000 visitors a year. Many of them, like archaeologist Hugh Cornwall, come to marvel at the caves. They were discovered by eccentric sea captain and showman Richard Goff. Hugh, after my long trek I find you. What a beautiful cave.
When Richard Goff discovered this in November 1898, he came through the tunnel there and he saw this and he called it St. Paul's Cathedral because of the whispering gallery at the top.
And this is very pretty. This is almost too good to be true.
This is a Richard Goff invention. It's a mirror pool. He's dammed the water, just a little skim of water, and you can see the stalactites reflected on the surface of the water.
Do you approve of this manipulation of nature?
Yes, I do. It's very low intensity human interaction with it. And Goff's reason was to show the amazing complexity and beauty of nature, and I think he's succeeded.
Ah, I thought you'd be more disapproving. The Victorians poured in to experience this underground labyrinth, the first cave in Britain to be lit with electric light. Before Goff turned them into a tourist attraction, the caves had been home to something else.
You can probably guess from the smell that we've now arrived at the cheese cave.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Hugh. I wondered if we had a problem. Now, the cheese is here. Is this a necessary part of its maturing process, or is this a kind of touristy thing?
No, this is really genuine. These are truckles of cheese, and are the only really genuine cheddar cheese in the entire world, because these cheeses are made from unpasteurized milk from cows on the Somerset Levels, very close to Cheddar. They're made by hand in the Cheddar Gorge Cheese Company in Cheddar, and they are stored here in Goff's Cave. And this is genuine cave-matured cheddar cheese.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. I can't wait to get my hands on some. As more and more areas of the cave were opened up to cater for the tourists, some important archaeological discoveries were made.
And this is Cheddar Man, 9,000 years old, the oldest complete skeleton ever found in Britain.
That is a fantastic sight. This intact skeleton was found here, was it?
Yes.
When the skeleton was studied in detail, it revealed an extraordinary life and death.
Well, the story behind it, we believe, is that Cheddar Man, as a teenager, was hit on the head with an axe which created a major wound in his forehead. That probably affected him for the rest of his life, but he died, we believe, in his early 20s. And we think that during that period, the effect of the blow to the head made him antisocial, dysfunctional, that sort of thing. So that when he died, the members of his tribe didn't deal with him in the normal way of burial, but put him in a twilight zone here so that his spirit couldn't depart to the ancestors and couldn't roam amongst the living either.
Recent research has produced more sinister revelations about the people who lived in these caves. Hugh, I hear there's evidence of cannibalism that's been discovered in these caves.
Yes, that's true. The bones of 3 adults and 2 children with cut marks to drop the jaw out, to get at the tongue and to invert the skull, and cut marks on the long bones and the breaking of long bones is all evidence of cannibalism, and the bones are scattered across the cave floor and mixed with horse bones. So cannibalism did take place here, but long before Cheddar Man.
I'm pleased to see people have turned from cannibalism to cheese eating in this part of the world.
This is only recent.
Only recent. The researchers also took DNA from Cheddar Man to see if they could find any of his descendants in Cheddar today. And guess what? They found a match. Adrian.
Hello, good evening.
Let me get a good look at you.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
Any resemblance to Cheddar Man?
Probably vaguely.
I can't see it exactly.
Come on in.
Thank you very much. Local teacher Adrian Target was helping to organise the experiment when he was also roped into giving a sample.
So I was arranging to have my students' DNA tested, and some of them were a bit apprehensive. And so I said, oh, it'll be all right. I'll show you there's nothing involved. I'll have mine done as well. One of the things that they obviously wanted to know was how much like Cheddar Man I was. And so they did a reconstruction of Cheddar Man's head based on what they had from the skeleton.
Adrian, this is spooky. Such a strong resemblance. I mean, obviously you don't wear your hair the same way they did 9,000 years ago, but otherwise...
It's always other people who can see the resemblance, isn't it?
Almost as bizarre is Adrian's other secret. Now, you know who this is, don't you?
Yes, it's a Bradshaw handbook, a Bradshaw guide.
And how do you know that?
Probably because I'm a railway nut, I suppose, a bit of an anorak, and I've collected mainly the timetables rather than the guides.
Adrian, that is to be a serious anorak to collect the timetables of trains that ran 150 years ago.
Yes, I suppose so.
Sherlock Holmes always had a Bradshaw, didn't he?
That's right, yes.
To the left of his fireplace, I believe.
Well, I do have some just here.
I suppose it was only a matter of time before I met another Bradshaw enthusiast. It wasn't long ago that they were an essential item for every train traveller. Must give you a lot of interesting bedtime reading, that. Thank you, that's lovely. It's almost time to leave Cheddar, but there's one thing I need to try before I go. Good evening. Oh, that looks serious. Are these all from Cheddar?
They are all from Cheddar.
This is the one from the caves?
It is indeed.
That's the one I have to try. Lovely big taste. Really mature and fresh and tangy. Thank you so much.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Early next morning, I'm ready to pop along the coast to Weston-super-Mare. Morning. Morning.
Thank you.
Running on time on a Sunday morning, that's very good.
Yeah, we try to.
The building of the Great Western Railway made it possible for there to be long-distance tourism, like railway workers from Swindon spending a week by the seaside in Devon. But it also led to the growth of day tripping,